Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I want to address Mr. President William Samoei Arap Ruto. Mr. President, we want to agree with you that just like Kenyans, including the Catholic bishops who enjoy the rights of expression and free speech, so you do. You also enjoy the right of expression and the right of reply. And since the clergy issued their statement yesterday, Mr. President, we have seen that government reacting, different quarters in government reacting and responding to what the bishops said. Mr. President, this is very rich for the discourse, and it is fine, it is good, of course, to try to lay facts straight. But I wish, as you respond to the bishops, you also remain within the factual lines. The police cannot lie to the nation that that during the Gen Z protest, 497 police officers got injured, and that number is more than the number of civilians who got injured. The police can also not lie that only 57 Kenyans were disappeared, and out of that number, only 29 are still unaccounted for. But let me not bog you up with those figures, Mr. President. It is our duty, and I think it's the duty of your government to, as you enjoy the right of reply, the right of reply on the side of government comes with the burden of proof of innocence. If the bishops and Lawyer Ahmed Nasir said yesterday that if you feel what the bishops are saying is incorrect, then just ignore it. But if you feel what they're saying is right, then you just need to correct your wrongs. I really take that as the true position. Today, Mr. President, you graced the graduation ceremony in Tandaza University. It is a Catholic university, and I want to believe that decision had been made sometime earlier, and it was just a coincidence that the bishops issued a statement before you visited one of their institutions. And today, I want to look at your response to the bishops, which, if you ask me, is a bit unwanted, is actually unwarranted. And at the same time, in this podcast, I want us to delve deep and look at that WhatsApp conversation within the communication desk. It is very interesting within the Mwaura team and bloggers about how they need to put up and tell the government story. In looking at the response of the government to the Catholic bishops' presser, I will really try to break it down, why it is becoming increasingly difficult for the Kenya Kwanza administration to tell their side of the story. Ruto is accusing bishops, Mr. President, of peddling lies against Kenya Kwanza administration. And the bishops spoke really about what they think was not right in this country. But this is what you believe.
Culture of lies, NHIF, unkept promises, and misplaced priorities. The culture of lies is swiftly replacing the integrity and respect that Kenyans deserve. Basically, it seems that truth does not exist, and if it does, it's only what the government says. Unfortunately, it seems that the Kenyans have helplessly tolerated the lies told to them constantly by politicians. Kenyans must learn not to applaud or validate the lies that the politicians tell them, but rather must resolve to seek and be led by the truth. When the government fails to fulfill its promises, particularly concerning payments to essential service providers, it harms vulnerable communities. This is the case with NHIF. The neglect of faith-based organizations, hospitals, now owed billions in dues, is an issue we have addressed constantly, even with the President. We recall the pertinent and resolved issues we have raised recently with the government over taxation of Kenyans, the hiking of the missionary work permits, youth unemployment, regulations of the education system, especially the CBC and university loan scheme, the failure to constitute the IEBC, etc. We believe that genuine consultation of all concerned stakeholders in all these matters is necessary beyond the casual public participation. This culture of lies, unkept promises, and misplaced priorities is unacceptable and needs to be dealt with.
In this compound, we've been here many times around this compound. And it is very gratifying that we are here today to do this together. And I want to ask all of us, leaders, the clergy, Kenyans, to work together towards a nation that we can all be proud of. And even as we engage in public discourse on matters that are important to the people of Kenya, we must be careful to be factual, lest we become victims of the things we accuse others of doing.
And of course, it is a responsibility to respond. But what Kenya Kwanza must be wary of is they are pushing themselves on the defensive edge. And a very good driver, you'll be told that when you're driving on the road and you keep on pressing the horn from all the way you can drive, just know that you also have a mistake. It's not just the other driver with a mistake. So if you keep on complaining on the road, then you know that there's a problem. So the more government stands on the defensive edge, I think it's a moment to stop and introspect. But Mr. President, you impeached your deputy president because we wanted to end the politics of tribalism. The statement yesterday was issued and was signed by 28 bishops, including Nairobi Bishop Philip Anyolo and his auxiliary David Ng'ang'a, the bishop from Bungoma Mkwasi Mark Kadima, and his predecessor Norman Kingo, your bishop in Eldoret Dominic Kimengich, who even read a statement, and his auxiliary John Lelei. Why exactly, and Mr. President, you can do better, why exactly did your Lieutenant Oscar Sudi pick, and the whole government pick, to profile Anthony Muheria and calling Anthony Muheria as feigning tribalism, while from that speech the Nyeri-based Archbishop did not issue a statement? The first thing you can do to the country is to go public and call out Oscar Sudi on feigning tribalism. Because outrightly he chose Anthony Muheria because Anthony Muheria is a Kikuyu, and Anthony Muheria was a personal friend to former President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. I think we agreed we want to end tribalism. It must start from the house in the hill. What Oscar Sudi did yesterday The post by Oscar Sudi, Mr. President, that was himself feigning tribalism while accusing Anthony Mwaura of feigning tribalism, while Anthony Mwaura did not address, was not one of the bishops who even spoke in that press briefing. And I believe that he chose to keep off because they knew that he would really be picked. If he did, sasa kama angeongea, because he didn't talk. I think on the spirit of ending tribalism, you need to call out Oscar Sudi. Oh, I'm wrong, you will not. Mr. President, in Tandazo University, you are asking the clergy to join hands with government and work. But I'm just wondering, because the government is full of experts. Some have even been donated from ODM. The government is fully constituted in cabinet. There is no bishop in cabinet. There is no bishop who is a speaker. There is no bishop who is really running critical roles in that administration. What is this collaboration that is needed for things to work? Because the questions that the bishops were raising yesterday, and just to raise some of them, they asked about the Shah, the mess in the Shah, which is a public discourse. And in that Shah, we've seen the CEO and some board members, even CEO pushed on compulsory relief, and some board member also resigned. It is not something new that the bishops are saying. Shah is shambolic. That is it. The country has experienced abductions and killings and disappearances. The National Police Service yesterday issued a statement confessing, of course, accepting that since, and let's just take their figure, that since Gen Z protest, 29 Kenyans who went missing are still unaccounted for. So why are you accusing the bishops of lying while on the other end we are actually acknowledging it? On the presidential term limit, the senator from Nandi, Cherorgei, even though the bill died in the Senate, but public participation was done and taxpayers' money was used. Surely, what exactly is the problem? They're asking about payment with faith-based organizations and work permits for missionaries in the country. That is a Christian-based call. And of course, I find it absurd. The president is asking the bishops to stick to their lane. But is it that ironical enough? Because Kenya Kwanza administration took politics in the pulpit, in the evangelicals. And that is how they're there. So they are all of the churches to checkmate what they did. There are different statements by bishops. And as much as we want to accuse them of, as much as we want to conveniently accuse the bishops of doublespeak, that they only speak about it. Someone have said, and I've saw a very tired narrative, that Mwai Kibaki and Uhuru Kenyatta were Catholic. So, and they were never confronted, or rather they were never criticized. So someone is saying, and if you want to see that Kenya Kwanza has, sometimes some narratives, by the way, zingine hata tufai kusema, even that one I'm not saying. Now, and let me just say, they're saying that Catholic is accusing, is criticizing Ruto because Ruto is not a... Now, look at these screenshots. This is, this is June 29th, Aspirations for a Prosperous Kenya. This was, again, Cry of the Oppressed. That's also another statement they issued. These are just past statements they've done. A call for review of the finance bill. This was before the finance bill was even posted by the members of the public. Public statements regarding comments about Holy Family Minor Basilica on social media. So they've been giving a couple of they've been giving statements and of course aspirations for prosperous Kenya, and so you cannot accuse them that. But I want us to look at these screenshots. If you want to know, government imefika pabaya, and I think this has really pushed them to a crisis, full-blown crisis that they're trying to overcome. Now, this is a WhatsApp chat that has been shared, that has leaked out, and I saw this one I've got from Nyakundi. If you check Nyakundi's Twitter page, you will get it. I just want us to go through these one by one. Let us get it. Team content. This is the team that is coordinated by by Mwaura. Let's have all our communications teams together with the issue one presser. The issue one presser as a team. My opinion though, then this is what they're saying. This is their worry. There are 18 million baptized Catholics in Kenya, which is nearly 40% of the country's population. The Catholic Church in Kenya has over 1,100 parishes, more than 3,644 priests, and many educational and health facilities. You can't ignore such an institution. Someone is warning. Now, this is Monaisha Chizuga, government spokesperson. One, mainstream media will never be your friend no matter how much you pay or beg for positive coverage. I want you to get this part. Media depends on sales, eyeballs to survive, meaning they can kill their own as long as there is monetary value at the end of it. Of course, Monaisha is from media, so he understands this terrain better. In total newspaper sales, and distribution from all media houses combines is less than 500k countrywide. Their loyalty is not to country or truth, but the individuals who own those media houses. That is partly true. Don't compete with the media. Just create another channel or platform to tell your own story, including a propaganda machinery to reach where media cannot. Now, this is the government spokesperson is even saying that craft propaganda, and is telling, why are you saying, well, if you have a true story, then why do you create propaganda? You create propaganda to manufacture a perception that does not exist. Then deal with Mwananchi directly. Be ready, be reaching out and creating awareness. Social media response and mainstream media might not be the true reflection of the facts on ground. I agree. Let's get the other part, Aisha. Number 7, work on the base and the bottom up will align. Kwa ufupi tutoke kwa simu, magazeti na TV, tuende kwa watu ground. Remember when boss was campaigning, all these platforms were against him. But he was always on the ground moving and building networks. Already as we speak about the clergy today, it is indeed yesterday, news kesho watapata headline ingine. Let's not put focus to allow to be drilled for a small group of people that are a bit of majority. Now that things are working way above the NEG's expectations. I guess we have other churches, get this, other churches that support the government. We should try find other church bishops from different denominations and other religions to call them out. Look at that strategy. This one I like, someone saying this one I like, then someone. The thing is, you'll all need to balance in all aspects and mainstream media, social media, and the ground. Rumors all start from social media, then culminate into protests. The government is terrified about this, and the Catholic bishops' pressure is really terrifying them, because it is emerging clearly that the disdain from the ground is boiling. The disdain is boiling. As we speak now, there is a Twitter, because I'm not still done on the authenticity, that I think I've seen a Twitter post, of some fellows calling for protest on 21st. Yes, I think I saw it in Nyakundi. Let me get it here. Yeah, just want to get it. I saw a post from Nyakundi talking about some social media users have already started mobilizing in Twitter calling for protests on 21st. And the government really feels that the trigger by the Catholic bishops would be something bigger. By the way, they will not, they really have a number and you cannot really ignore them. Why government is finding it difficult and has failed to tell their story is this. It's all that in that WhatsApp chat. The propaganda machinery is facing backlash. I think I saw Nyakundi, let me show you. Nyakundi was saying the other day that government will have to pull out of Twitter and use other platforms because the level of fact checking in Twitter, you cannot come with nyef. By the way, you can get away with propaganda anywhere. But in Twitter, those good Kenyans there don't really joke, and there you cannot get away with the propaganda. Yes, I saw something that government will likely pull out of Twitter and resort to other platforms, just looking at the level of fact checking on the ground. There is a lot of propaganda machinery. There is a lot of propaganda messaging in it, because the truth is Kenyans who disappear during elections, during that protest, ni wengi. I love the truth here. We might not have the figures, but it is just elementary thinking that polisi hawezi kuwa waliumia wengi kuliko raia. Kwa sababu kwa hiyo barabara nani walikuwa wengi? Police, if you look at the police versus the civilian ratio there, the civilians were many. So even as much as you run propaganda, and that is why I was saying that the person who was running that propaganda need to be fired, because he's actually shaming the government. So he's facing that backlash, and as much as they want to believe in it. Number two, the media sabotage is now, you know, that's something that happened. There's some, government is the largest advertiser in media. And they decided to give it to some two Star, I think that was Star and the KBC. And so the others, they only run to the other media stations when they are seeking audience. So what has happened here is the government is unpopular. So when you run pro-government stories, you are actually profiled as an apologist. And people tend to withdraw from those screens. The moment people withdraw from those screens, you don't have the numbers. Then you don't have the numbers that you can show to corporates to advertise with you. So that has created that, and that is why, and that is what Mwanaisha is saying there, that if you cannot depend on them, because if they realize your story is unpopular, they won't really belabor themselves running your story. The UDA political mouthpiece is also silent. During campaigns, now, even as we speak, the president is the only one talking about the ticks that Kenya Kwanza has, the boxes that Kenya Kwanza has ticked. But if you look at the political class, they're only talking in parliament, where there is little coverage. Mwananchi is not following what's happening in parliament, because parliament is now really disregarded. But when they go to funerals and events and the churches on Sundays, even now they are going to recess, you will not see those MPs talking about what government is doing. You will not see them talking about the successes of government. And that is why Mwaura and the team, as much as they can delve on social media, but so long as the UDA MPs and the mouthpiece are also not talking to the people on the ground, that messaging cannot, their message cannot sink. There is also a big trust deficit on Kenya. Kenyans have a trust deficit on President Ruto. And with the failed projects and the other promises that are being made left, right, and center, I think that's what is making it difficult. So as much as Mwaura and the team are coming off with all sorts of strategies, the problem is bigger than them. They're just part of a big problem. In fact, the communication guys, if Mwaura speaks and Ruto speaks, who has a big audience? The president has a big audience. But Mwaura cannot correct what Ruto has really failed to do. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and let's meet in the next.